Okay, gotta pull over. Get the setup. Let's see if I can get this to work. Maybe, 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 maybe not. Will it work? I don't think that's gonna work. Haha. I think seems to be working. Cool. Let's stay. Let's see if it stays. That'll work. Need to get a car mount for my phone. Okay, here we are. Probably gonna win. Okay. I am going live on YouTube to talk about this because I'm trying to start a channel. It's something I'm passionate about, and I'm hoping that anybody who would come to my channel would support this as well. There's been a lot of talk over the past few years of banning e-cigarettes. Okay. Now, I will be the first one to stand up and advocate for switching from smoking any kind of tobacco or using smokeless tobacco or any kind of tobacco product and switching to an e-vapor or e-cigarette or a jewel pod. As an adult, okay, here's the thing, they want to ban all the tasty flavors because they say it's drawing in young people, and most of them will switch to smoking when they're of legal age. I disagree with that because it is just as easy for somebody, for a young person, okay, to get a hold of a tobacco product and begin using it. I know this firsthand because I'm from West Virginia, one of the southern states, okay. It just, I all through high school and middle school, I saw kids either chew or smoke cigarettes or smoke Black and Milds or use tobacco in some way, okay? Now, I'm from the generation before e-cigarettes and vaping really got big. We were talking about, I graduated high school in 2010. So, realistically, yeah, that's when I started smoking, was in high school, because it was really easy to get a hold of back then. You know, it was easy you had older friends who would buy it and you'd get them off of them or whatever, you know, whatever the case may have been. It was easy to get a hold of. Or you knew somebody that worked somewhere, you know, they would buy it and they'd sell it to you out the back door. Yeah, was it illegal? Yeah, it was super illegal, but you're a high schooler, you don't care. And most of the people you knew that would do that for you were so young that they didn't care either, because, you know, they were old enough to sell tobacco, but not, you know, it was no big deal. We live in rural, okay, first off, West Virginia is pretty rural anyway. So when you live in rural West Virginia, they don't exactly do sting operations on tobacco. Now, they'll do it on alcohol because fetal alcohol syndrome was invented in this backward-ass state, okay, where all the degenerates live. Right? Okay. And that's great and all. But anyway, what I'm here to talk about is not that, okay? It's about the fact that they want to ban all the delicious flavors that I enjoy as a vapor. And as somebody who has switched from smoking to an e-vapor or an e-cigarette device, okay, any kind of electronic tobacco or nicotine delivery device, okay, it's safer than smoking, okay? It is not safe to use by any means. It is a healthier choice than smoking cigarettes or smoking anything. Okay, it is not. It is a step in the right direction. Okay, and it was originally invented as a cessation, but you know, it all comes down to personal choice. I don't know why the government thinks that they can just step in and take away all of my personal choices. Why should it be dictated for me that if I'm going to use any kind of nicotine delivery device, that it should be boring or some kind of natural tobacco flavor? I like my blue raspberry. I like my flavors. Okay, the flavors are one of the big reasons it was easy for me to switch from smoking or using tobacco products to going to an electronic nicotine delivery system, okay? Because of the attractive flavors. Because it's more appealing than the taste and the dirty smell of a cigarette. And they make cigarettes and the little cigarillos and stuff that taste like peach and cherry and all kinds of things. Okay, and I still would take this any day over top of it because I don't have the secondhand smoke, I don't have the secondhand smell. Okay, I would much rather use this because it tastes better, it doesn't make me stink, okay? And you don't realize how bad it is when you're smoking. You know, people tell you and you're like, oh, you're just sensitive. You know, it still lingers on some of my clothes that I haven't worn in a while. They've been sitting in a drawer. There's still the smoke lingering smell on it because it hasn't been washed out yet. I pulled out an old shirt that I haven't worn in months the other day. Okay, just because it was sitting in there and I grabbed the shirt. I thought, well, I haven't worn that in a while. That shirt's comfortable, and it got lost in the drawer full of my laundry. You know, you put your clothes away, and I could smell the lingering cigarette smoke on it, and I was like, well, that's old. I can't imagine how something, you know, that I was freshly smoking it smelled to everybody else. And I realize now that I've been off of cigarettes for a little while that you can smell cigarette smoke from a lot farther away than you think, because, you know, you become nose blind to it when you're doing it. You know, obviously, naturally, you become less sensitive to the smell in the air. So, here's what I have to say to the government who is trying to ban this stuff. If you ban the flavors, okay, first off, you're going to force a lot of people who have made the healthier choice to switch to an electronic nicotine delivery system. They're going to force them to go back to smoking cigarettes, because if you're going to make this boring and less appealing than a cigarette, people are going to go back to cigarettes. So are you going to support major tobacco companies who sell flavors just like the vapers do? Okay, they sell vape juice in some of the same flavors that they flavor tobacco with. And we won't even get started into smokeless tobacco that they make in all kinds of delicious flavors. Okay, and that's bad stuff. Everybody, you know it's bad. You know it's a bad choice when you make the decision. But ultimately, it's a personal decision to start. Okay, now what you can do is make it harder for younger people to get. Okay, there's very severe penalties on people who supply anybody who is under the legal age with tobacco products. But personally, I like my flavors. I don't want to go back to cigarettes, but you're almost making it impossible for me to keep doing it, because if I can't get my flavors anymore, then what's the point? Okay, it's not going to be as appealing to get more and more smokers to get off of smoking tobacco products and get onto an electric nicotine delivery system, such as a vape or a Juul pod. I mean, there's masses of people, there's millions of people that are switching to the e-vapor, the electronic delivery systems, because it's healthier. You know, that's the big thing. It's not about luring young people in because it's cool. Okay, yeah, it might have a status or whatever, and whatever the culture is around it, I don't care. What I'm here is to talk about is the core of this issue, the core, why it was invented and why it is so appealing. It is made, they made all the delicious flavors to make it more appealing to smokers, so it's easier to switch, because you're not going to go and do something that makes you just as miserable as a cigarette does. And it takes a little while for you to realize how miserable of an existence you really had while you were smoking or while you were chewing or whatever. Okay? People quit and switch every day. Okay? And there's people out there, myself included. I tried several times to quit cigarettes. I did the cold turkey. I did the Chantix or the medication, whatever. I tried the lozenges. I tried the gum. I tried the patches. I had bad reactions to every single one of them. Okay, the lozenges made me sick. The gum made me sick. The patches made me break out in a severe skin rash. I was allergic to whatever they put in them. Okay, it wasn't the nicotine. It was whatever else they put in those patches. I had a severe skin reaction, and they made me sick to my stomach because the nicotine delivery wasn't as, you know, I can put a cigarette out early if I feel like I've had enough nicotine. I can stop vaping for a little while once I feel like I've had enough nicotine. Also, nicotine levels in the electronic systems can be tremendously lower than that of traditional tobacco. Okay, I'm using the lowest nicotine, I believe. We might be able to go a little lower, but the most popular, the average lowest is the 0.3 nic. That is the lowest you can go besides zero. Okay, if you go to any of the big or small stores that sell the vapor juice, the e-liquids, usually you won't find much lower than a 0.3, which is, I think, the equivalent to a quarter of a king-size cigarette. Not the hundreds, the kings, okay, or something like that. I don't know the statistic on it. You can look it up yourself. But there's a significantly less amount of nicotine in it, and I know this because if I can, when I finally switched over, I went like 3 or 4 days without a cigarette, and I was on this thing. I was like breathing air for me because I latched onto it, trying to stave off the craving for a cigarette. It does, and it's not easy. It still takes a lot of willpower and a lot of work. You have to want to quit. You have to want to make that switch, okay? And then I couldn't stand it anymore, the craving, and I lit up a cigarette, okay? First off, it tasted like burnt rubber. And this was a Marlboro name brand. Okay, I don't know how it I don't remember it tasting that bad when I started, but I think the first pack of cigarettes I ever had, first cigarette I ever had was a menthol. Okay, again, that's what lured me in. I could smoke cigarettes because it was a status symbol, but I got a menthol because it tasted better. It didn't taste like garbage, okay? And I kind of choked my way through it because I wanted to be one of the cool kids, okay? So, yes, there might be some young people that want to get in on it as a status symbol, but they're not going to damage themselves as much with an electronic nicotine delivery system, even if they get juice that has no nicotine in it, okay? But yes, the e-liquid does have some adverse effects when you vape it, okay? When you're vaporizing it and you're inhaling it, it's just like anything else that you would do that is indulgent to your body. It's a personal choice, okay? Now, that being said, so we're going to remove that option, and then, okay, so all the kids that are doing it now are going to go get cigarettes. That's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to move to. Okay, they're going to go get flavored tobacco and smoke it instead because that'll be the cool thing. Or if they're in one of these weed legal states, they're going to go get weed and smoke that. Some of them already do that too. Okay, so let's remove it and make them damage themselves even worse by going and switching to tobacco and being on an electronic delivery. That makes sense. Let them do it. They'll probably grow out of it, or they won't. I don't see anybody, though, who started off on a vapor, okay, that tastes good, switching to cigarettes. Because the first couple of tastes of it are going to be disgusting. It tastes really bad. I can say that after switching to vape, which is delicious. I love my blue raspberry. Tastes like blue raspberry all day. Sometimes it leaves a little bit of a lingering smell on my clothes, but it washes out a whole lot easier than tobacco smoke and secondhand smoke. And it doesn't bother anybody around me to smell blue raspberry. It's not offensive, and it doesn't hurt them. Okay, anywhere it's a whole lot less offensive than secondhand cigarette smoke. I can tell you that. It's better all the way around. Alternative, just smoke a cigarette. It's better. It's not good for you, but it's better for you than cigarettes. Okay, so go ahead and remove the flavors or whatever you're gonna do. And first off, you will have a tremendous uproar by everybody who's already using one of these right here, one of these. Because you take my flavors away, and I'm going to be pissed off. And I got news for you. I'm going to admit to it right now. I don't legally admit to nothing. But what one would do is try to find illegal channels to go and buy flavored e-juice. That's what's going to happen. It's going to become a black market item. And on the state level, they're going to override the federal ruling of the FDA trying to ban this stuff, and on a state level, they're going to legalize it just like they did marijuana. And you're gonna have rings of people smuggling in flavored e-juice, and then you're gonna have all these fines and shit that people have to pay, which is ridiculous, for trying to deliver people's products because the government stepped in and put their nose in something that it doesn't belong in. Ultimately, you can't stop this. You cannot control America. You can't stop free will. People are going to do what they're going to do, and there's not much you can do to stop it. Now, I understand the governmental campaign to stop young people from starting this. Okay, but if they're going to start something, of the things that they can start in with the opioid epidemic and the young people smoking or using tobacco products, or using legal marijuana, or of the alternatives, let them vape. For crying out loud, let them vape. It is the least damaging thing they can do to their body that is an indulgent choice. It is even less harmful than alcohol can be. Okay, how many people have died in the last 14 years of vapor-related issues other than the popcorn lung thing? Okay, and that was a flaw. That was something that was in the R&D stages. Okay, they've revolutionized that. That has pretty much gone away in relation to the vape thing. Popcorn lung doesn't really happen anymore. Okay, how many kids died or they died of alcohol poisoning? Okay, how many drunken prom nights have gotten girls raped or terrible things have happened that were alcohol related? How many bad things like that have happened because they started vaping? I don't see it happening. Okay, so what I would like to say to all the big government agencies that are all in cahoots about and all up in arms about the vaping epidemic, okay, step out of it. Just let it go. Leave it alone. Okay, the fad will die and it'll go away on its own without you stepping in and removing my personal choice. I'm of legal age, okay, to make this choice, and removing my choice on the flavors I can have in my electronic nicotine delivery device. Leave it alone. Don't do it. Don't step in and tell me what I can and can't do with my life. As an adult of legal age, to do everything. I'm above the age of 21. I can do everything legally that I want to do. Okay, and I have every choice. I have every right to make those choices. As a free citizen of the United States, I have every right to make those choices. So, leave it alone. Leave it alone. If you want to impose penalties on young people or people who supply with young people with nicotine, okay? You cannot even regulate what they do with the vapor that doesn't have any nicotine in it. You can't do anything about that. It is not illegal for a minor to possess an electronic delivery system and a juice with no nicotine in it. It's flavored air. It's flavored water vapor, okay? It's no more harmful to them really than eating sugary candy, okay? It's gonna rot their teeth and their digestive system, okay? Yeah, it has a negative impact on the lungs. It's a lesser impact than tobacco, but it still might have a negative impact on the lungs. That really hasn't been completely determined yet. I think they're still on the fence about that. They're still doing studies on it because it's still relatively new to the United States. However, it's been in Europe for I don't know how long, okay? Matter of fact, I know this for a fact, it's been in the Ukraine so long that the fad has died, and now anybody who uses a vape is considered weak or a lesser of a man or whatever because you don't smoke cigarettes. Okay, whatever. I think, I don't know, that's coming from scattered sources. I can't even cite that. But the thing is, this is a new thing to the U.S. It's not a new thing elsewhere in the world. And elsewhere in the world, it's been considered a safer alternative to smoking. So just let it go. Leave it alone. Don't stick your big ass thumb in it and screw it up for everybody else. Don't do it. It's going to piss off a lot of people. And it's going to make them not go along with a lot of other things that you want to do that might be positive. Okay, it's just going to create more friction in a society that has enough friction as it is. Leave that alone. It's not a big enough issue for you to stick your big fat thumb in it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Leave it alone. Leave my choice to vape delicious flavors alone. Or, like I said, the impacts are going to be far-reaching and very negative. You're going to effectively force people to do something negative and take a negative step in the wrong direction just because you want to stick your thumb in and you think you can control this or whatever. It's not going to happen. It didn't happen with marijuana. I mean, the government successfully put a handle on it for a lot of years, and in the end, it made a comeback because ultimately it's up to personal choice and free will. You cannot make this go away. You can prolong the inevitable, but the more you try to make it a bad thing, the more people want to do it. The more you try to make it taboo, or then it's the cool thing to do because young people are naturally rebellious, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to do it illegally. You have the potential to ruin their personal standing in the community and their personal standing in their legality, and you're going to make it illegal, and then they're going to go do it because it's illegal. That's why underage drinking exists. They do it because they're cool, because they're not going to follow the rules. Oh, look at me, I'm such a rebel, I'm going to have a beer. Oh, look at me, I'm such a rebel, I'm going to steal a cigarette from my parents. Okay, well, look at me, I'm such a rebel, I'm vaping with no nicotine in it, because I don't know if you've seen anybody try vaping for the first time, but it chokes the shit out of you. I don't care how long you've been smoking. So, leave it alone. Stop. Just leave it, let it go. Stop drawing attention to it, okay? Because the more mistake you make about it, the more it becomes an item, and the more it becomes a cultural thing, rather than illegal or a health issue, okay? Let their doctors tell them what vaping could and could not do to them. Okay, just like doctors have been telling their patients for a very long time to stop using tobacco products. I personally, okay, last time I was in for a checkup, the doctors asked me if I smoked. I checked yes. They asked how long, and I told them how many years. And then in the comments below that on other, I put switch to vaping, switch to electronic, blah, blah, blah. And this is so long ago. When I got in to see the doctor said, good on you for making the healthier switch to vaping. I would much rather see you vape than smoke a cigarette. I'd like to see you quit altogether, but good on you for making the slightly healthier choice of switching to an electronic nicotine delivery device, because it doesn't have all the negative carcinogens and chemicals in it that a cigarette does, or smokeless tobacco does. The formaldehyde and all the extra additives that they're putting in tobacco products, smokeless or otherwise. This doesn't have it. It's got 3 ingredients, 4 if you count the flavoring. And the FDA has to where they have to put every ingredient on the label because it's a consumable item, okay? Because it's food grade. It is food grade stuff, and it has to be. The FDA has put major restrictions on these delivery companies because of the popcorn law and because of all this. They have put major restrictions on the manufacturing process for e-juice and e-liquid, okay? That goes for the stuff that's in the jewel pods and everything else. Now, I can see, like I said, I agree. I don't want anybody, you never wanted to see somebody who's young start smoking, and you still don't want to see somebody who's young and has all that potential in their whole life ahead of them start doing something that is negative to their health or their body or their mind. Okay? But like I said, of the evils out there, this is the least of them. The least. The least. And it's the least you can do to just leave it alone. Let it take its natural course, and it, much like every other little fad that every teen goes to, okay, they're going to get on e-vapor. I got news for you. I could quit this tomorrow probably and be fine, but I like it. I'm going to stick with it. I like it just like I thought I liked cigarettes. Eventually, I'll probably get sick of it and quit altogether. And because of the lesser nicotine levels and the fact that I am less addicted to this than I ever was cigarettes, I got news for you. When my batteries die in this thing, I can take it out, set it down, charge my batteries, and I'm not freaking out because my batteries are dead. I'm not like, oh geez, somebody lend me your vape. I'm gonna die if I don't get one. Whereas when I was addicted to cigarettes, if I ran out of cigarettes, I was freaking out, man. I was having a mental breakdown because I was out of cigarettes. Or if I had cigarettes and my lighter died, or for whatever reason I could not smoke a cigarette, I was freaking out. I was counting the seconds until I could have another one. This, if you'll notice, I've been talking for how long and haven't hit it but maybe once or twice. I can set it down for the rest of this podcast and be fine. I kind of go back to it because I like the flavor. It's not so much the nicotine. I like the little jolt that I still get. And that's the other thing. If I set this down for 2 or 3 hours and pick it back up, I can actually feel the effects of the nicotine in it. Whereas cigarettes, that effect dies after 1, maybe 2 packs. You don't get that nicotine high anymore. When I get up in the morning and take my first couple vapes, I still feel the nicotine in it. Okay, I'm not nearly as addicted to the nicotine as I was cigarettes, and I think I was more addicted to other stuff than the cigarettes. I don't think it was purely nicotine. I think it's the gum and the paper and all that crap. Why are we doing 60 miles an hour? You're from Texas. Isn't the speed limit like 80 down there? Anyway, I just don't see why we need to make a big stink about the e-cig flavors. Why is that a thing? Why does that have to be a thing? Why can't you just leave it alone? Just leave it alone. Don't bother it. Don't mess with it. Don't mess with my delicious flavors. If you want to remove the jewel pods from the market, whatever. People will go to the little LiPo, whatever it is that you have to go to a vapor store to get. You want to take them out of the gas stations and the smoker stores, and you have to be a registered vapor shop and vendor to actually sell the things. Okay, that's a more controlled environment. They're not going to get as much foot traffic as the gas stations and stuff that sell the jewel pods. Whatever. It's still going to uproar a lot of people because there's a lot of people that like their little jewel pods and go buy their cigarettes, and they do it however often and whatever, and they got their little thing going on for them, whatever. You want to make people switch over to a more complicated unit? Then so be it. People will do that. They're not going to be happy about it, but they'll do it. Okay? But it's going to cause a lot less uproar than if you absolutely outlaw flavors. And you're going to cause less and less people to switch from using conventional tobacco to an electronic delivery system because it's not as appealing. Which is the whole reason the flavors were invented, to make it more appealing than a cigarette. Again, I'm reiterating here. Okay?